right, y'all. What's going on? What's going on? This is Greg Said It Live, off season edition. Looks like. Come on in the room, y'all. Yo, we just go ahead and get this thing started. What's going on? PC 40. What's going on? Yo, we got a thing going on for all you CU lovers. You love CU. You know, you came to CU because Coach Prime and the whole thing, and we watch this thing go, and it never fails you. I don't know if the Amazon should be there. Hopefully, the Amazon series, because this thing gonna be jumping. But we got a whole situation here with Colorado, y'all. Every year's been different. First year you come in, it's like woo woo woo. He bringing the Louis. Oh, he talking that big stuff. What it's gonna be? The intention built up, the hype built up. He sold the mess out of it. And, can Travis play at that level? Can Shedeur? That was the whole thing. They jumped out there on fire. The world panicked because if he pulled that off, it was done as you know it. But they put that heat on him and they pulled him down and they lost some very close games. And it was chaotic. They had talent, but it was chaotic. Somehow they were barely losing, but they played bad. And they kind of remind me a lot of this year. But the second year they came in, brought a lot of core players back and boom, they was on fire again and they won a lot more games, put a lot of guys in the NFL. And then you say, what are he gonna do after that? He losing a lot of those core guys, and boom, you know, here it come this season. Supposed to be a better team, but not really a lot of core players, and it never was well put together. Yeah, I saw this show here. I saw that we'll probably get to that, but it's one of those things where you didn't really see it coming, but you saw it coming. You knew Hoobie Jooby, Heebie Jeebie, Gooby Gooby, all that stuff going on. And so what's going on? We got these Cleveland beloved here. What's going on? So, you know, this year was weird because, they never could figure out identity and it really showed. You didn't have those core players and it really showed. The chaos showed. So since somebody just mentioned this thing with Buff and Prime, they mentioned something there, and I don't normally mention names, but they brought on Mayor Matei or whatever his name. He was there briefly. He wasn't even there a few months last season, and then he went to Arizona State. I remember McCaskill went to Arizona State. Tyson was already there. There's a few guys went to Arizona State. Breed Love went. It's amazing how Arizona State love to get CU players. Probably gonna get some more. From what he's saying, there's some key guys calling him, trying to get in Arizona State. Now that would be weird to want to be in conference competitors with Colorado. Um, and the thing about it, what gets me about it is I get what he's saying, and I don't knock his experience. But Arizona State can't talk that big because the garbage CU gave Arizona State the game. They really could have beat Arizona State as garbage as they are, and that's what gets me about CU. CU can play hot garbage and still be in a game. All the games is maybe people say Houston, maybe Arizona was the only game to me that they just spanked them from the beginning. Because even Houston was head to head all the way to like third quarter with Staub at quarterback because they couldn't figure out what they want to do. And Colorado, as garbage as they played, these teams played around. BYU, these teams played around with CU. That first year, they could have beat USC and Oregon blasted them. Uh, Washington State blasted them, but outside of that, everybody else could have got it. And it's like I don't know if that's good or bad because you can't really brag that you almost beat somebody and when you play horrible because you really didn't. Your horrible play, you should have got beat worse. And that's my thing. But you can't say a whole lot with Arizona State because they barely was able to deal with Colorado. Dudes. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a little deeper than that. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how much to give to Coach Damian Lewis. They played good defense against Mississippi State. And what I say about good defense, you used to get low scoring games. A lot of people don't know ball. They be like, oh, that was a boring game. But everything has to go right. And you appreciate good defense when you look at CU. That means you're not missing tackles. That means you're where you're supposed to be. And that's what makes the game boring because there's not a lot of opportunities. People are playing their assignment. And you learn to respect a good defensive game when you see Colorado missing simple assignments, people always out of position, giving up a lot of big plays on a simple run, they're up the doggone gut, turn a 60-yard touchdown. That's not supposed to happen. If you don't know football, you should know that don't supposed to happen. Somebody's supposed to be there. That gap's supposed to be accounted for. A linebacker's supposed to be there. A D line supposed to be there, and then you're supposed to have a safety on the back end. So that's all on the back end. You know, you know, it don't supposed to happen. And when you look at Colorado, it happens all the time. Yet they don't get blown out every game. And even when they did get blown out, a lot of times it's just late in the fourth quarter. You just give up 2, 3 touchdowns back to back after you just finally just quit, get tired of holding on. And that was really their issue. The offense played mediocre. Like when Salter was in the beginning, he didn't give up a lot of turnovers. Maybe when he tried to do some extra, maybe he did. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't score. Kind of like how Cleveland was playing keep away in the beginning of the season. They wasn't getting blown away in the beginning because the run game was working, the defense was playing good, and they were just losing low score games. So you thought, oh, all they need is a good quarterback. That's how CU was playing, except their defense wasn't that good. But for the most part, they were playing keep away. They were bend, don't break, or however you want to see it. That's what Colorado had going for themselves. They had that. Um, it don't make it no better you losing close games. It don't make it no better when you can't score over, a couple touchdowns a game in the field goal because you keep saying we can just go 20 points, we can do that. And then, that's just not good enough. And when you look at Mateo, he get on there and say, well, it just don't have a program. I guess you can see it. I mean, that's his opinion. And, they these social media guys say they're hearing from people in the locker room, and it explains a lot. Something's going on behind the scenes. Something's happening. These guys are not leaving for fun. Hayes looking good at okay. Yeah, I didn't even catch on with Hayes. Yeah. I mean, of course, Hill Green gonna look good. Hill Green look good at Colorado. It's just something got to give for what is really going on. How much do you really blame it on what? Do you blame it on the fact that okay, these guys are not that good? Do you blame it on the fact that the coaches are not that good? Do you blame it on the fact that the culture is not that good? I think you can blame it on all the above. Ultimately, you can't point at one or the other. I mean, I'm not saying they're all equal, but the coaching is definitely a thing because the coaching is the one who's put on the field. Outside of recruiting, the coaches is the one put them on the field. You got all these players. Either you can't find other players because you're not looking, or you're not developing other players. But there's no way the same guy should be out there screwing up and you can't find nobody else. So yeah, you can blame the coaching. You say player quality. We go back to recruiting. And it's like, okay, it's a million guys out here. Y'all can't find them. I don't care if they're Uber Boober Creek. You can find them. Really, they out there. And then the culture. Now, what the boy was describing was the culture. He's saying it was stressful, and I can see that. And you mess up at practice, start over. I think Coach Prime way of doing things when they go bad, it can be toxic. You think about they go to losing, and he say, all right, we finna go to hitting, and y'all, if we're gonna start practice over. Maybe it do make people be on eggshells at that point. I don't think it's at eggshells in the beginning. I think it's on eggshells when things start looking raggedy, and he start taking certain measures to fix it, and it puts pressure on guys that they're not built for that. And like you said, they mental health, like the boy was saying, he had mental health, whatever you want to call it, from Cincinnati. He wasn't quite right, and he brought that to Colorado. And he said he didn't fix it till he got to Arizona. Maybe that was the environment he needed. In Coach Prime environment, you talking about he's under pressure to win. He's under pressure to perform. He got a lot of spotlights on him. Arizona State caught everybody slipping. Nobody was checking for Arizona State. It was garbage. They was at the bottom like CU, and all of a sudden, everybody else was fighting. Arizona passed everybody at the end of last season and went to the playoffs in the bowl game, or the conference championship. Nobody saw them coming to like the last few games. Nobody was checking on them. Everybody was looking at BYU. Everybody looking at Iowa State. He was looking at CU. And it was like, who gonna make it? Who gonna make it? And Arizona State, boop, popped in. It was slick because nobody even mentioned them. They was not in the run. They had a slow start. And it was another low-ranking team that nobody really respected until it was too late. Everybody else started being on each other, and they were sitting in the driver's seat. And then they turned around and won in the championship. They were probably one of the most healthy teams and all of that. They didn't have the pressure on them. You see, pressure and spotlight does the whole thing. That's what this conversation looked like it's leading to. Because what the boy was describing, Matei was describing that at CU, it was a lot of pressure. It was a lot of things that he couldn't handle. and it didn't help him, and he didn't like it. Well, the team overhaul when you at Colorado had that. You had people want to see Coach Prime fail, and by default, the players gonna feel it. You had at that time, Shedeur was on the team, Travis on the team. Everybody was trying to prove Shedeur wasn't good enough, Travis wasn't good enough. Is he good enough for the Heisman? It's a lot of pressure just inevitable for that team that's coming from so many directions that you really have to be a certain type of player. I remember that first year when they took off and they say everybody not made for these lights. Man, that thing was so intense. You can feel it through the TV. I know the players had to feel it. It was an intensity of excitement and it was an intense of pressure because a lot of people wanted to see them lose. You got to think about it. They went 4-0, 3-0 when everybody expected them to be 0-3. And then it looked like their momentum was kicking in. And Travis got hurt that last game. But it was, man, you had college game day in Big Noon on the same campus on the same day. People wanted to be there so bad. The ratings were so high because it was a circus. From that very first game they beat TCU, people want to see, is this real? Can this continue? And you had so many people want to see him fail before he even had a chance to fail. That's why I'm not moved when he failed and people talk about him like, I mean, this not legit. Like if I'm talking about Colorado's weaknesses, I'm talking about it from a genuine place, not from a I told you so, not because I'm glad they fell because I've been waiting for them to fail. Like a hater. That's a hater. You can't say you've been genuine because you wanted them to fail when they wasn't failing because that's your whole thing. I'm just here to look at it from a objective place. He sees he sees them becoming complacent and reflected. I think it's a lot going on, man, and I think it's what I just said. This is not a regular team. This is not a regular team. When you let Charlie, I don't know what you try to prove with Charlie. I can't say it was bad or good. I mean, Charlie did everything right. Charlie was a solid running back. Now he wasn't a running back, a 5-star or nothing like that. Maybe he could have went to a group of 4, and maybe Charlie wasn't sorry. He just wasn't what you would expect from a power program, especially led by Coach Prime. But he was a hard runner, man. The boy worked hard. I'm gonna give him that. But he's just not the face of your franchise. Basically, that's what you all are saying. Get out of his face. Next thing you know, he's in the portal. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Bayer. I don't know what happened to Bayer. You can't say that. You can't say nobody what's going on. You can't say nobody didn't like Bayer. I don't know what happened with Bayer. It has to be something behind the scenes because Bayer was playing. What ticked Bayer off? Was Bayer tired of the camera? The camera thing ain't really been that strong over the last year. Buck ain't been there as much. It's not the same well off as you've seen over the years. So what was really the move other than the fact I don't know. I don't know. The whole running back room quitting to the portal when he named. Yeah, I remember that year. But Charlie wasn't named before that. What happened was Dylan Edwards left, then McCaskill left, Savion ended up leaving, and that was all during the spring. Savion never recovered from that. McCaskill never recovered from that, and it looked like Dylan Edwards never recovered from it. Then they went and got IA. He stayed for a year, then he left. Um, I'll come back to that. You need a certain talent to thrive on this team. To be more hands on. And he could be, but I mean he's a celebrity, so um, let's see. I missed one up here. He said, I think Prime lost the locker room after he did that high school quarterback shake up mid-season. I think it's bigger than that. And I don't think it's a losing the locker room thing. I think it's to start off one thing and it grows to losing locker room from people disagreeing with you. But I don't think it's just started like that. I think it's like a lot of rumbling. I think it's a lot of people having their opinions. And what's going on, Greg and Chad? Meyer probably got a big bad. So I'm sure he did. I think he might be looking at the Auburn. So where's the old coach went? Did his old coach go to Auburn or something? These coaches moving around has a lot to do with that. Well, I told y'all, while all these coaching openings happen, it creates a domino effect. When you see all these big schools, these Power 5 school openings happen at one time, what happens is when these coaches move, it opens other positions, what opens other positions, what opens other positions. Because somebody have to move from another school if they're not already inside like they did with Ole Miss. They have to leave their school to fill that position, which means their school is now open. So somebody have to leave their school to fill that, and you see, people think about it as only those schools, but it creates a lot. Yeah, Charlie ran the ball hard. Really, it's almost like because he was at the wrong school, he didn't get the opportunity he should have. If he had went to a smaller school like a Boise State, outside of that running back that was there, Genty, I mean, he could have played. He was a good running back. He was a hard runner. He was a hard worker. He had more speed than we gave him. He could have played somewhere. It may not have been Colorado, but he wanted to be at Colorado, and they gave him a shot. Even though he's not the ideal player, you can't say he didn't do what he needed to do to get that opportunity. I think that it's almost like Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's not that good, but he could be good somewhere. I don't know NFL, but I'm just using that as an example. He gonna catch a lot more heat because he in Shedeur way. Because he's not a true franchise quarterback for the NFL, but he may be good for the XFL. And same thing with Charlie. Charlie could have been good somewhere else, but not Colorado, especially with that spotlight there. It's not that he wasn't good. He wasn't good enough for what the people thought he would be. And he took a lot of flack for that. So, yes, Byers could easily be going to Auburn because Auburn is another school that got shook up. Players going to be leaving, or plenty of players leaving. I see people comparing that, like, yeah, Auburn losing players, they're losing players because these coaches are leaving. Colorado losing players and their coach ain't leaving. Let's get that all the way clear. Colorado situation not the same as a Florida, who's they got their key players in the portal, as an Auburn, as Michigan, who losing the coach. You looking at Ole Miss, LSU. All these people having big shifts. These players are shaking up. They're shaking up. They're losing starting players because the coach changed. Colorado is not losing because of the coach change. They're losing because everything changing. The recruiter leaving, their position coach leaving, they lost money. It's a combination of everything. We can't just put our hand on one thing because I mean it's a chaotic situation. It's shaking up everywhere. You might as well be the coach prime leaving because everything that they know is changing. The offense coordinator has changed. Their defense coordinator clearly is about to change. They bring in linebacker coaches and everything. FSU. Somebody mentioned FSU. All these schools that we mentioned weeks ago are major schools, and when these players coaches leave, that means the position coaches gonna people the people recruited them gonna leave too. Because typically when new coach come in, they usually blame their own staff. So everything that they know will change, they jump in the portal. This portal is about to be live. We tripping, but this portal is gonna have different type of players in it than this has before. Because I've never seen so many big schools coaches up and leave at the same time. I've seen two or three leave, but it's like 8, 9, 10 of them. And then so they coach leave, another coach leaving, another coach leaving. It's gonna have a type of portal talent that we have not seen. And the portal gonna be different because it's only one portal. This portal is gonna be like anything like we never seen before. Colorado's gonna have a chance to get some players, and they're gonna have a chance to attract some players based off how Coach Prime. You just see he just brought a guy from the ACC who was at Florida State 1 year, and he was a coordinator at Virginia Tech last couple of years. He has been recruiting players to those schools that he was at. He has coached players. Don't think that some of his players not going to try to come with him. He was the old defensive coordinator and linebacker coach. He's going to be able to draw players from that side with him. Of course, you got coach from I don't know what to call it, Marion. They got a similar name from the Sacramento State. Of course, he's recruiting everything. He's a whole former head coach, but he used to be an offense coordinator. But he's recruited from a whole bunch of different schools. He had plugs everywhere. He's going to be able to recruit from his old school, which you saw that's Sacramento State. But he had some boys go there that shouldn't have went there. Like Coach Prime had some boys go to Jack State that shouldn't have been there. He's going to be bringing people that was about to go there. They're going to U-turn, come Colorado. He's going to be able to bring some guys who fit the system from Sacramento State who could play at this level, but chose to go there with him. He got some old guys from UNLV that he coached that probably can come here. They're lower level, and he was at Texas right before that. So he got some guys that's at Texas that might say, I want to go there with my old coach. That he had relationships. Everything is about relationships. It's guys leaving Colorado because of relationships. Their coaches that recruited them or coached them is going to be gone. They should leave. It ain't just Coach Prime. Coach Prime wasn't heavy in recruiting. But these new coaches coming in, it's going to draw some players too. You got to understand that. We'll do something to the players. Like, yeah, it's a thing, man. What they say players from Oklahoma, Texas A&M are gonna be in the portal. It's, it, let's look at who gonna fill these schools again. If you leave an Ole Miss to go to LSU, that means some of the LSU players leaving because they coach left. Some of them gonna stay, but that means the guys from Ole Miss. They good thing they got an inside guy that's gonna slow that down. But some of the guys gonna leave Ole Miss because it's gonna change. Then whoever, so they didn't really affect that because they did something from the inside. But imagine somebody from Houston when it took over Ole Miss. Well, now Houston will be shook up because they mean they finna get a new coach. So they mean they guys be here. Then whoever that coach left his team. Let's say the guy coming from Houston, he came from Texas Tech, just for example. Then it's a domino effect of how it affect the whole system when these boys go to moving around. Y'all gotta understand that. And this portal thing is not pretty. So the quality of portal is not gonna be the same. They're not gonna be like, oh, well, all these are just leftovers. No, it's gonna be starters. Just like Colorado starters leaving, but it's different because Colorado is different. They coach is not leaving. Yeah, probably headed to Penn State. Okay, so that's the big thing. Iowa State losing their star quarterback. All right. I don't see CP at the bus for long. It feel like how everything moving around. It feel like that because they moving around like that. It's like no, they losing their coach. It wouldn't matter. I mean, I already said that with his health and his age, what's going on? It is what it is. We don't even know how he's doing. I mean, he just had a major surgery and went into a season. He got to be really, really healthy and stress free to be able to even recover from that. I hope that the people bringing in that let him to rest. He needs to rest. Just like he had to rest last offseason. He need people who can come in and handle recruiting and handle the team. He needs head coach style people to allow him to rest, man, for him to be able to make it through that tumultuous type of season, man. This is a heavy travel, heavy. People asking him why he don't recruit. He doing enough, man. That's another reason people not considering why he's not recruiting. That would be more traveling he would have to do, and he's got issues. You gotta understand that. Focus on developing young players. I mean, that's cute. I mean, if he got that kind of staff to do that, that would be great. But you just seen what his young recruits just did. He just lost one of his future. He just lost all his high school players just left. Do you not see that? Amarian Miller was a high school player. Draylon Miller was a high school player. He don't lost not Merritt yet. McPherson, high school player, just got there and played. Sam the Swain, um, one more guy on the offensive line. That came in the same class with Juju and all them. Not Gibson, not Lightfoot. I'm just saying these things happening only feeds his mentality, only confirms it. You get these young guys and they leave, and they do leave, and these guys played and they leaving for whatever reason. Because I hate giving a young guy opportunity because it do advertise him. Hey, you doing well? I saw it every time I watch Miss Fierce and Merritt play. I'm like, oh man, Ohio State, somebody won't get them because you showing that you can film as a young dude, which is good, but it's also advertising because it's like, hey, y'all losing over there, come play in the national championship next year over here. Now, do they start over there? I don't know because you got a whole bunch of them type dudes, but they got something out of Colorado that they want to got. They got a chance to play and start. You want to start at Ohio State, you better wait your turn. So it's like it gives you almost a treat like Colorado, like a JUCO. How JUCO gonna be treated? JUCO don't even count no more. You can go play JUCO and your clock don't even start. But that's like almost what they gonna push high school players to do. Go ahead JUCO and play, and then you can go to these big schools because they don't want you out of high school because you got no proof you can play yet. Because you can go sit on the bench the first year or two there. And nobody wants to do that. So they jump in the portal and they end up going to a lower level school or they get stuck in the portal. They're going to have to really think about this stuff, these high school players. It's really about recruiting first. It's all about recruiting. Because if you're not a good fit, and you got to be able to get the players in there. I mean, everybody got to be recruiting and quality. because you're gonna lose a certain amount of them anyway. Freshmen, even without the portal, when I played, you bring in 20 freshmen by the end of the season, only like 6 or 7 of them left because you realize, do I really want to do this? Because college football is totally different. If you now these guys got programs now where they lift them year round, they treat it like college and high school. It was a few high schools, the good high schools who did that. I did. I played multiple sports. When you get into college and you playing this thing year round, it's barely in the breaks. You better love it. You're gonna find out if you love it. So if you're gonna lose freshmen off of that alone, like I don't even know if I want to do this no more. I don't even like this environment. It was no portal. And you better jump in that portal, you better be going to somebody who you know because you ain't got no film if you're on that bench. So you better have some relationship with some old coaches or whatever because they really want you. The big splash will be as certain. Watch. He's bringing the DBs in the portal. P. Certain. Who's P. Certain? Help me out. Is that a new? Because I know the new coach from Virginia Tech. That's not his name. Uh, Schools with the big bad will get the Mercs. I mean, we saw that with Texas Tech, right? Deuce the School kind of hinted, alluded to it. What? He alluded to what? He alluded to what about these new people coming on? Oh, you talking about certain? A certain. We'll see. I know he got some big names coming on defense. I know that he got to. Don't forget the LCSS players. Also, Osman's quarterback came from Fair State. Yeah, I mean, but that's all recruiting though. You got to make sure. Yeah, Cartier Smith. Yeah, Cartier Smith. Yeah, you gotta make sure that yeah, Cartier Smith. Yeah, Hudson left. Yeah, Hudson left. Future guy, young guy. He didn't do much this year. It's London Merritt. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, I mean, because there's no need to stack up on all these. Your core like a Gibson. Then they stayed Farrakhan, Gibson. Those guys. But it's like when you load up on young guys like that and they play, then it's like, yeah, Certain. I mean, he got relationship with them Certains. Like I said, Coach Prime still got some guy, and it'd be smart for him to bring those type of guys. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because you know that Florida State finna get a new coach. So when you bring a DB coach or somebody from Florida State, you're gonna get some of them Florida State guys. You know, you're gonna get some of them Florida State guys who you want from the portal to join. I know what, man. I haven't even been watching it like that, honestly, because that Porter ain't really got all the way jumping yet. That Porter about to jump. Give it a couple weeks. More teams gonna be out of the playoffs. It's gonna be down to like the last couple teams. Them guys gonna hurry up and hit that Porter because it really don't benefit. The longer you play in the playoffs, it really don't benefit you if you plan on hitting the Porter because you're gonna have to disrupt your team at some point for the guys, whether they starters or not. Like we seen some guys that's bold enough to say, "I'm starting, but I'm leaving." And some schools don't even want their coaches to play coach after that. Surely they want the players to play. A lot of guys ain't even playing in the portal because how the portal is. And a lot of guys don't want to play in bowl games no more because they pointless, especially the people who either transfer or like Hill Green did last year, or because they say, you know what, yeah, I'm going to lead, I don't want to get hurt. So the bowl games don't have no clout. But you say the playoffs, you got all these teams in the playoffs, and some of these teams the coaches leave, like a Ole Miss, even though you got a guy on the inside. And then you got a lot of people say we ain't even playing in the bowl. So you're gonna have some guys literally, it gotta be over these next couple of weeks, some Christmas surprises. They in the portal, but they don't want to announce it because they want to be in category. Even Colorado got guys like that. But it's gonna be a lot more activity in the portal we ever seen because it's only one portal and it's crowned. So this thing gonna jump in the first of the year, you're gonna see a lot of activity. So I can't really even judge, honestly. I can't even really judge. Every player I've seen in 2 years eligibility left. I mean, it's not eligibility is pointless. Bayer had eligibility, but he left. You want to build on people like Bayer, but he left because he do have eligibility. Well, this is the thing about Salter that hurts CU. They shouldn't have got him in Juju. Like you already had Staub there. You already had um brains. You already had Stop and what's my boy name? I'm slipping. I'm looking at him. Tall, skinny, right? So you already got those guys there. Why don't you develop those guys, but you don't really have a QB code, and let Juju be what he be? You can bring in another guy, who can fill in, but to bring in another starter and another starting call a QB company, just when you screwed. Ponder. I don't know why I ain't even thinking Ponder. I'm looking at it and I ain't thinking. Right? So Ponder. So you think season going? Yeah, I felt like Stop should hit the portal. I feel like Ponder should hit the portal. But you got these guys there. Those are true backup quarterbacks that you need to develop. They never gonna get a chance to develop as long as they only on scout team, don't get in the game, whatever. You brought in two new quarterbacks on top of your two quarterbacks that's already there. That's been there. Feel like you should have just go ahead and pick one or the other. You wanted Juju, but you wanted Salter would have been better under a system, kind of like how like Tulane played yesterday. He is better up under that. Even his go-go style stuff, maybe better because he really capitalize on his legs and his RPO and all that. That's his strength. If you wasn't gonna do that for him, you shouldn't have brought him. It's not that he was the problem. You shouldn't have brought him if you wasn't gonna tailor offense for him because he has a unique skill set. It's definitely not beneficial to juggle two quarterbacks the whole spring and say, I don't know who's going to start all the way up to the week of the game. That's not good for your team, just like it wasn't good for Cleveland. Because you got a young quarterback and you got a senior. The senior, how is confidence built if you don't even let him know who he is? He's not even going to get comfortable. Let the team know who's going to lead, the style of game we're going to play, and go for it. Now, when you talk about Juju, he coming in out of high school, let him know you're going to be the guy, so get your mind right and whatever you need to go through. Not the emotional back and forth, not the slow trying to figure it out and all that, because that's mental games. He would have been different if you had to go ahead and say, you the guy. It's up to you to lose. And then force him to be in there. Yeah, they did a Cleveland move with Salter. They very identical. I don't talk about that. They should just hey, let it go. If you're not gonna be the guy, let him go. Um, I mean, it's very possible. Some guys that's getting reported, they ain't said nothing, and he's very much could be one of them. The thing is, you don't have to have a guy like Seaton. This is not a pro style offense anymore. This is a ground and pound. They ain't got to be as big. They ain't got to be as prolific as Seaton, honestly. So, but Corey refusing to sign players wanted by position coaches. Okay, yeah, I don't know what Corey Phillip did, but I know something's off with the crew. Overrule everyone with prime out. He was running everything. It definitely was some guys I've heard that wanted to come that they didn't even look at or they didn't even want to look at. And these guys went on to do well at other programs. And we hit on other content creators, but we just seen it in general. We know that a lot of people at one point, Colorado had their pick. So it's no excuse. Colorado had their pick at one point, especially when Shedeur was here, to get anybody they wanted. And yeah, Coach Brown could have walked in any school and got anybody they wanted. Sap can go in any school and get in the D-line they wanted. They're not leveraging their resources. They're not. And it's almost like we good. We don't need all that. They could have got anybody they wanted, especially within the first couple of years, just off of the hype and the name that, yeah, everybody's not want to come to Colorado. Everybody not a good fit. But boy, you had a huge pool of people you could have pulled from. Make sure y'all hit that like. Go ahead and hit that like while y'all at it. Go ahead and hit that like, share, subscribe if you in here. Go ahead and hit that. I don't think that it's hurt. I mean, I think that from a cultural standpoint, like a Draylon, these are people you took out of high school 1 year apart. I don't think that Mario Miller was a good fit. I figured he was gone. He needed to go because he got to be a blocking guy, and he's not going to necessarily be able to demand the ball. He's not going to get the ball anymore more than what he got this year in his offense because it's going to be more well balanced. It's with the run game. It's not a whole lot of passing. It's not, this offense depends on Marion for the jump ball. It's not that. So he want to be that guy. He got to go to a more offense that's built that way. Same thing with Draylon. Draylon, he could have fit in, but he's not a true running back and he's not a true receiver. He needs to be an offense that allow him to do whatever. He's not just a receiver not at the Power 5, and he's not just a running back. He really needs to hone in on the school that he's gonna allow him to be both, or he need to go and really focus on being a running back. but I don't think he's running back. I'm sure running back. I hope Cam Michael don't leave because I think he'll be a good slash type hybrid guy. But the same thing with him because he hasn't found his role yet as a running back receiver. It's no identity. It was no identity. So I think at the end of the day, this offense that they got now is going to force identity and force people to fit into a certain role. And you didn't know where they stand. But up to this point, it has been no identity. So a player has been playing a whole bunch of positions. Even Hodge has played a whole bunch of positions. You know, because it has been no identity as a team and as on either side of the ball. It hasn't been no identity on this is what we do well, and this is what we're going to do. And then you can kind of fit guys in. But if you don't have, that's what the guy said, well, it's no program. I guess that's what he meant. He was a tight end in the CU who wasn't using tight ends. They didn't know they wanted tight ends to block or catch. They had people who can catch. They say, oh, you don't block good enough, and they let them go. Then they bring tight ends running routes. They can't block or catch. You let go of the guy from London who was a good receiver option, but he didn't block well. That would you say? You had my guy the first year, and he was a what was his name? Boy, I'm slipping. My boy the first year. I don't know why I want to say Henderson, but first year he was a real good option with the pass, but he wasn't big enough. He was a hybrid, but he was productive. It was no identity. So it's like to bring people into an offense with no identity from how you what you're going to do with your tight ends. I know it's Mike Harrison. I don't say Harrison. It's Harrison, right? I don't say Henderson. Harrison. Um, Mikey. Then you had Zico came in after that. Yeah, and Zico was here around the same time and left with mate Mateer. We just had no them bringing tight ends. They're not good enough. And he said that it was Coach Bart, but I believe it was my other coach. Um, I mean, I don't know that the switch happened halfway through there. Brute. I thought it was Brute that was here at that time. Maybe Brukowski, whatever his name. I think he ended up leaving because I think he wanted to go to Charlotte. But I don't think Bart was there. I think Bart was still over receivers at that time. Then they moved him to tight end. He say Bart was there. Maybe that's some behind the scenes. I thought Coach Brute was still there because he kept saying these boys couldn't block. I know Zico was there with Brute. So you let go of Mike Harrison, you let go of Zico. These was talented guys. Even with Mateer, he was running his mouth, talking about what he did in Cincinnati. He going back and forth with block bullet and block bullet. I'm here now. So Mateer, he's weird. He was all in the camera. And he talking about people talk all on the camera and one hit on that. He wasn't hitting on that, really. From what we seen, I mean, he was like you said, he was dropping balls. He supposed to had all this speed. He just wasn't a good fit, I guess. But at that time, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know what to do, and they wasn't using tight ends. And Coach Brew left, and I feel like he probably felt like he wasted my time because they weren't really using the tight ends like that. Harrison was being used, but then they say he couldn't block. Man, he could have put the weight on. He showed he can catch. He showed he know how to get open. He's by far has been the most productive tight end we have seen. And he could have been still here. He could have been on put on another 20 pounds. He could have been almost like a Kittle by now. Mateo was here doing it and left during the spring. Yeah, I remember he left during the spring. And I thought Coach Brute was here during that same time. And I thought Bart came on after that. Because I know he talked about Seville Smalls being put in that room. I remember that. And I maybe Brute had left already by then. Halfway through then. I don't know. Yeah. Harrison was, I think, a decent guy. Because, I mean, he ain't got to be a prolific blocker. He could have developed over time with coaching, getting the weight room, put on weight. But the fact that he was a good threat down the field, he was scoring. We ain't had that since. We ain't had that since. Everybody else look like they got two left foot. They can't catch. We ain't had that since. So that's our identity issue. Are you gonna use them? How you gonna use them? What you need? Are you confused what you need, what you don't need? That's been the issue with Colorado, honestly. Now we looking at do other tight ends come? We seen a top tight end change their mind, go somewhere else. Do you get tight ends? Okay, now you got a program. It's gonna be totally dependent on the new OC who you get. Because he didn't come, Colorado was screwed. I told y'all that. Coach Prime saved everything, himself, everything. Because you're going to lose everybody in the portal anyway, and you weren't going to get nobody because what they coming for. And you would have nothing to build on. It would have been worse than the first year. You've been totally built on Coach Prime. I don't think Coach Prime would have needed that type of pressure on him. He didn't have Shedeur and Trav. He didn't have nothing to lean on only but his name, and that ain't the same. It ain't the same. So he said, "I don't trust underclassmen stay." Well, he shouldn't. I mean, you can't. You every year you build, you got to bring in at least 20 underclassmen a year because you're not gonna keep all of them, and that's been going on for decades. That's just how it works. That's before the portal. That's just you just decide I don't want to play no more. So you need underclassmen to build as your portal people come in. Look at that, man. He about to lose at least 40 scholarships plus another 20 in the portal. Man, he gonna have to come up with 60 people. Nobody wants to do that pure out the portal. The only way he can pull this off is because he bringing in coaches who can bring about 10 players each with him. You know that, okay, we're bringing in a head coach from Sacramento State. We know he can bring in at least 20 by himself. Just off of old players, people he was recruiting, people from all, he can bring in 20 by himself. You bring in DC from Virginia Tech, he can bring in 10, 15 players. You bring in old boy, y'all talking about Surtain, Florida State, and you know the turmoil going Florida State, he can bring 10, 15 by himself. Those people he bringing in can bring a good 50 players by themselves. So you brought, let's say that's hopefully, I don't know, you ain't gonna get 10 high school players. That's where you're underperforming at. You need to bring in 20 high school players regardless, because you're gonna lose half of them regardless. They're gonna say, I want to go somewhere else, and just bring in at least 20 players a year. At least 20 players a year, not 11, at least 10 players a year. If you got to get them out of Colorado, they can open up a showcase Colorado, they're going to get some guys. At least 10 players. They got scholarships, plus they had over 10 extra left over this year. At least 20 players a year out of high school. Then you bring in another 30 or so. But that's only 50 at most 60 players that you can bring out of portal. You don't want to be doing too much more than that. You don't want to be bringing in more than 50 players a year. You just don't want to be doing that. And how do you do that? By maintaining players, getting new high school. You may get 20 to 30 guys out the portal a year. That's where you want to be at. You don't want to be getting 40, 50 guys out the portal. You don't want to be doing that because that puts a lot of pressure. Now, they can pull it off this year because the type of coach they're bringing in. He's going to have that kind of pull. He's got that baby Prime. When Coach Prime first came, he had that pull. He didn't leverage because he wasn't going to the schools. He wasn't recruiting. Like this guy will go. He put his cowboy hat on. He go out there and he recruit. He gonna pull in more guys than Coach Prime pull with his influence. Coach Prime had just came. Everybody, why he don't go? Man, the man had 3 toes on 1 foot. Man, he ain't telling you everything. He having blood clots and all that. You think that's bad? I'm sure it's other stuff. He having surgeries and stuff. He don't need to be doing all that moving around and traveling and stuff. He already doing commercials and stuff like that. That's a lot of movement on a man who already. Then he just had surgery with the bladder. You gotta understand. Just be considerate and use common sense. Coach Prime has the ability to recruit, but he can't fully leverage it. This new coach has the ability to leverage it, and he will leverage it, and that will make up for a lot of stuff. Coach Prime can close him here. He's not going to be going all over the state and all over the city and putting up, having security and all that. He's a doggone celebrity. He can't pull up to a high school like that, and he can't. He's not as mobile as he need to be. He gonna take all kinds of security with him just to walk up in the school. He can do it sometimes for really big recruits, yeah, but just on regular recruiting, he can't do that. I don't care what Nick Saban and his Kirby Smart. They're not. They're local celebrities. They're known for the teams, but they're no Coach Prime. Coach Prime is known for more than just coaching football. Okay, so he can't do that. I mean, it is what it is. They have to keep adjusting it because it's not gonna work. We're proud to recruitment Colorado born players may have more to on Colorado. Pretty much. Yeah, he didn't for some reason he didn't do it. McChesney, people got all these theories about what it is. It don't make no sense to me. The guy he complained about the alma mater because he's from the school. And that bothers him. You know, you can look at Indiana. The whole stadium saying, "All right, I don't care how many people transfer in there. They know it. That just come with it. Everybody know this song. Let's do it and shut up. Why argue with the man? He right. He right. Everybody else got a fight song. It's part of keeping the crowd and the players connected. I don't care if you're down for 30 days. Learn the freaking fight song and move on. If that's part, you got to assimilate to the culture. You can't pull away from the culture. If that's what needs to bond, then do it and shut up. He's not wrong about that. You want to argue about him? He's not wrong. You ain't gotta like him. He's not wrong. If he say y'all ain't recruiting and y'all got top talent there, if he can prove it, he's not wrong. Why did you look over a guy who finna go to Alabama and Oklahoma and all that? Why? That's stupid. And they showing interest, and you got an insider who's from your school. He wants to see his school. When you get you gone, you going to another school. He's still there. How you gonna talk about somebody who been there before? You gonna be there after y'all can say that. I mean, I ain't buying the nonsense. He trying to undercut his team. That's foolishness. That's foolishness. I ain't got to defend him, but that's just common sense foolishness. The man was there before we got there, and when Coach Prime, whoever leave, and we move on, which we are, or for where I mean, that's not our school. He's gonna be there because that's his school. He can talk junk about his school. That's his school. He can say stuff we can't say. That's his school. Period. So if he's dogging them out, they're mad about them not recruiting. At the end of the day, that's his school. He wants to see his school do well. So I don't see him sabotaging his school. If he do, that's on him. I ain't buying the foolishness. If the man saying y'all not recruiting now and he got all these players that want to go there, I believe him more than you saying that he trying to get this, he trying to get paid or whatever. He That's his school. He played there. I didn't. If he want to sabotage his school, which I doubt, then it's on him. If he say he got players that want to go there, how you say he lying? If he get paid, pay him. Everybody else getting paid. But the point is, these guys more than likely want to go to Colorado if they grew up there. It's like I'm at Georgia and I want to go to Georgia. Why would Georgia look over Georgia athletes? Georgia don't look over Georgia athletes. They get the top players there first. So as you is the top school in your state, you should be getting the top players out of your school, especially in the areas of need, which is O-line. If it's an O-line issue and you got O-linemen, the top O-lineman in your state going, that's unheard of. Alabama don't have that issue. Georgia, Ohio, no state that has a top football crown has that issue. What are we talking about? You sound stupid. It's only Colorado that's having that issue. You, as the top program in your state, supposed to have first dibs at the top athletes. If you don't want the skilled players, you want to go to Texas, fine. But it should be no top receiver in that state that don't get us offered there. You can't say that garbage. If he's the top in the state, he should not get no offer. If he's the top lineman in that state, he should not be getting no offer. That man should not be saying that. You're going to look him in his face and let him slap you and say he lying. Because you the lie. If he's from there, he played there, he lives there, he know more than you do. How arrogant are you to act like you know more than him? I trust him more than I trust you. I ain't gotta like him or whatever. I don't even know him to not like him. His personality is his personality. I don't sleep with him. I don't care. People trip me out with that. They do that mess in politics. I don't care about that crap. If he feel like that what's best for his school and it's true, then work with him. Why ignore him for 3 years? You don't like him, and if he gonna get you the players, figure out a relationship, or else they're gonna go to somewhere else and beat the mess out of you. And you crying about linemen, and you ain't even gotta go to the portal. They getting top linemen out of your state. Like I said, Georgia, Texas, there ain't nobody else doing that crap. They gonna get the first dibs. That's a joke. Like, are you serious? Just to maintain that CU. That's their school, man. Come on now. Ain't no school when you gone, that culture got to continue. You don't come to Georgia or Alabama. You came in after Nick Saban. They got a culture, man. You gonna do what they say. They gonna get your butt up out of there. I know what I'm talking about now. It's your job as a coach to maintain that school's culture. It's not your culture. When you leave and go somewhere else, which they all do clearly, they gonna get a new job every few years for a pay raise, just like the players. You talk about the players, everybody doing it. Everybody doing it. So don't act like you can't rob the school of their culture. If it's good, if it's been going on, let them have it. Let them have it, man. These boys grew up in Colorado, man. They more likely to go to Colorado because regardless what you think about your school, they're likely to want to go to Colorado because they grew up there. I don't have that relation because I didn't grow up in Colorado, but they're more likely to want to go to Colorado because They grew up just like you grew up watching Georgia or Alabama or wherever you at. They look up to that school. So why wouldn't you give them the opportunity? And why does this man have to complain about that? That's a no brainer. I don't care if you want them or not. You make an offer. And I don't know why you wouldn't want them if you need them. I don't know why you wouldn't want them if other schools bigger than you and better than you want them. It's stupid. So let's end it with that. Shedeur, I got a few minutes for Shedeur. Shedeur about to play in a few minutes. I want to see what's going on. I'm about like Colorado with Cleveland. I don't trust them far as how they treat Shedeur. I don't trust them with decisions they made. And they play fickle. The defense I used to be able to trust, and they don't play hot garbage ever since Shedeur got there. At least the last few starts. He only played 4 games. And they ain't play worth nothing. They don't let players sit out on them. They O-line all of a sudden, all of them hurt, and they weren't even that good to start off with. Every time he get in there, he playing with backups. His tight ends, his veteran tight ends was out. His top DB was out. Now, the only thing left, God forbid, they take Myles Garrett out. He ain't finna play that crap because he's going to get his record. So they ain't the kind of team that I put too much hope in. It's entertainment as it is, all a joke. I feel it's all schematic and scripted anyway. Honestly, I let it go. I'm not going to be stressed out over dumb football. I got regular life that I got to put my energy into. But I will talk about the truth because I support the truth. I see the truth. I'm going to point out the truth. That's what I do. I'm not a doggone fan. I'm not a fan of nothing. I ain't got to watch none of this crap, really. And my life be perfectly fine. I'm not going to have anxiety because I didn't get to watch football. I miss a lot of football. I ain't even watched the Alabama game. I got other stuff to do. But this is what I do. All right? So it is what it is. Yeah. It is. I'm all about the truth. If I see lies, Greg will show up. I ain't no superhero, but I got a cape too. Yeah. Yeah, he just play a good game, so they won't throw it in his face. That's all. They just need to play a good game where they don't dog him out. You know, it's not a hotbed of talent. There's 3 stars. There are better than 5 stars in Colorado. That's what you say. But who cares how many? You must don't know how recruiting works. So if they got a 3 star, they may be equivalent to a 5 star somewhere else because the only reason you're a 3 star is because not as many people are recruiting you, including Colorado, which mess up your stars. Your stars is based off of the number and the quality of the schools that's recruiting you. So being that you are in Colorado, you're not going to have as many stars because most of the teams on the East Coast, what most of the big programs are, they're not coming out there and recruiting you. So the less teams recruiting you, that's your less stars. But that doesn't mean you're not good. That's clearly, even Coach Prime will tell you that. It don't mean you're not good because you don't have the stars. That means that less people are recruiting you. And so it shows that because even Colorado is not recruiting you. Yet this man is telling you Alabama's recruiting these boys, Oklahoma's recruiting these boys. So clearly they're good enough for Colorado. I don't care about a star because I know how the stars work. Okay, so that's why and they're the top linemen and you need linemen, why would you let them go to Alabama? Because you're looking at some stars. And maybe that's what Corey Phillips was doing. I don't know. That's anybody who knows anything about recruiting knows that's not how it works. This star system is not what you think it is. It's misleading because there's a lot of 3 stars who are just as good. They just don't have the exposure. They good as 4 stars. I didn't necessarily say they should have a 5 star, but a lot of 3 stars. There's 3 stars. This year gonna be 4 stars next year because they had a good playoff game. Like you see the boy down in Texas. A 3 star and a 4 star. The only difference between them is the number of scholarships. So there's nothing wrong with a 3 star. Y'all looking at them like that. The only people who really stand out is because not as many is a 5 star. Speaking of that, and I'll be talking more about that. I'm running a showcase right here in Georgia. So y'all know anything? Y'all know some players, whatever. We'll be talking more about that. So that's actually kind of something that's kind of relevant to what I'm doing right now. But I'm gonna go ahead and get to this game. We'll get more into the showcase coming up, and may I have something later, maybe inspiration, motivation. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll be talking to y'all soon.